Every year in June, Kamakhya temple closes its door for 3 days. No pujari enters, no puja happens, no darshan is allowed. And when it reopens, the most sought after prasad in all of Bharat is a piece of red cloth. But to understand why, you first need to know what's actually inside this temple. When you visit Kamakhya and enter the garbhagriha, you actually descend underground into a natural cave beneath the temple. You will not find a murti. There is no vigraha of any devi here. One of the most powerful Shakti peethas in Bharat has no idol. What you'll find inside instead is a natural rock formation shaped like a yoni sitting in a depression in the cave floor. And over this rock, an underground spring flows continuously, day and night, summer and monsoon, year after year. Nobody has been able to trace where the spring actually comes from. This is a yoni peetha. According to the Shakta tradition, when Bhagavan Vishnu used his Sudarshan chakra to divide the body of Devi Sati, her yoni, the very origin of creation, fell here on Nilachal Hill in Guwahati. That makes Kamakhya one of the oldest of the 51 Shakti peethas. There is no murti because a Devi doesn't need a form here. She is the rock. She is the spring. The earth itself is a deity. And this is not just one temple. The Nilachal Hill complex houses temples dedicated to all 10 Mahavidyas: Kali, Tara, Sodashi, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Bagalamukhi, Matangi and Kamalatmika. Of these, Tripura Sundari, Matangi and Kamala reside within the main garbhagriha itself. You will not find another place in Bharat where all 10 Mahavidyas are worshipped in one complex. This is the seat of Tantric Shaktism, and that mysterious spring, whose source nobody has ever identified, becomes central to the biggest mystery of this temple. But before that, this video is about one of the most powerful forms of Devi in all of Bharat. And if you want your children to grow up knowing the stories of Devi and her Shakti, the stories that temples like Kamakhya have kept alive for centuries, we built Temple Girl Kits exactly for that. Download it at templegirl.com. Link in the description. Every year, around the 3rd week of June, the water of this underground spring turns red. And it's not just the spring. The nearby stretches of the Brahmaputra, one of the mightiest rivers in the world, are said to take on a distinct reddish color near the temple. Some researchers have tried to explain this. Nilachal Hill has deposits of cinnabar, a mineral that gives a deep red color almost like sindoor. The soil is also naturally rich in iron, and when the monsoon hits, and this is Assam, the monsoon here is something else entirely. All of that washes into the water. But devotees have known about this phenomenon for centuries, and their explanation has never changed. The Devi is menstruating, the earth is bleeding, and the water turns red because Shakti is going through her sacred annual cycle. This belief doesn't stop at the temple. Across rural Assam, farming communities have traditionally stopped all plowing and tilling during these exact 3 days. They don't disturb the soil. If the Devi is resting, the earth is resting. You don't force the land to work when creation itself is in renewal. An entire farming civilization synchronizing its relationship with the land to the sacred cycle of the goddess. The word Ambubachi itself comes from the Sanskrit Ambuvachi. Ambu means water. Vachi means the outpouring. It marks the moment when the earth's water begin to flow with the monsoon, when the land becomes fertile again. And it is at exactly this moment that the temple doors close. On the night of the June 22nd, the Pravriti rituals begin. The Yoni Shila inside the Garbhagriha is draped in a red cloth, and then the doors close. For the next 3 days, June 23rd, 24th and 25th, the temple goes completely silent. No pujari enters a Garbhagriha. No puja, no part, no aarti, no darshan, nothing. nothing. Meanwhile, outside, lakhs of people gather on Nilachal Hill. Sadhus who have been arriving weeks in advance, Tantric sadhaks from across Bharat, families who have travelled thousands of kilometers, and they all wait. This is when Kamakhya becomes the largest gathering of Tantric sadhaks anywhere in the world. They believe that during these 3 days, the earth's energy is at its peak. The boundary between the physical and the divine becomes thinnest, and the sadhana that happens on this hillside during those 3 nights, passed down through unbroken Guru Shishya traditions for centuries, is among the most intense in all of Bharat's spiritual traditions. So what happens behind those closed doors? The temple says the Devi is resting, undergoing her annual cycle, and like any woman during her cycle, she is not to be disturbed. She is to be honored with silence. Now, the stories buried in the walls of this temple are just as extraordinary as a festival itself. Long before the temple took its current form, this hill belonged to Narakasura, the Asura king of Pragjotishpura, the ancient name for this region. He is said to have fallen in love with Devi Kamakhya and proposed marriage. The Devi set him a condition: build a stone staircase from the foothills all the way to the top of Nilachal Hill. Complete it in a single night. Do that and I will marry you. Narakasura accepted. With his immense power, he began building stone by stone, step by step. Through the darkness, he was almost done. And then, just before the final steps were complete, a cock crowed. Dawn had arrived. Or had it? Some versions say the Devi herself created the sound of a cock crowing before the actual dawn, tricking Narakasura into believing the night was over. Enraged, Narakasura chased and killed the cock. That spot across the Brahmaputra is still called Kukurataka Chakki to this day. And those unfinished stone steps, they are known as Mekelauja path. You can still see their remnants on Nilachal Hill, an Asura king's incomplete love story carved permanently into the landscape. But the most shocking story about Kamakhya isn't about an Asura. It's about the kings who saved this temple and were punished for it. In the 16th century, invaders destroyed the original Kamakhya temple. The ruins lay forgotten until Vishwasingha, founder of the Koch dynasty, rediscovered the site. His son Raja Narayanan and his brother, the legendary general Chillarai, rebuilt the temple in 1565, giving it the distinctive beehive-shaped shikara you see today. But then something happened. It is said that Devi Kamakhya would dance inside the garbhagriha when a particular pujari named Kendukalai performed puja with his eyes closed. Raja Narayanan and Chillarai wanted to see this divine dance. They convinced the pujari to let them watch secretly. The Devi found out. Enraged, she beheaded the pujari on the spot, and she cursed the Koch dynasty, banning them and every single descendant from ever entering Kamakhya or even looking at Nilachal Hill. That curse from over 450 years ago is still observed today. Descendants of the Koch Bihar royal family are said to pass through Guwahati with their gaze lowered, refusing to look upward at the hill where the temple stands. The kings who rebuilt this temple can never enter it again. Now back to Ambubachi and what happens when the temple finally reopens. On the morning of June 26, the sun rises over Nilachal Hill and the doors open. The Devi has been bathed, the garbhagriha has been purified, and the first devotees descend into that ancient cave after 3 days of silence. But the darshan isn't what most people travel here for. Actually, what they are really waiting for is the Angabastra, a small piece of the red cloth that was draped over the yoni shila during the 3 days of closure. Along with it, devotees receive Angodak, the sacred water from the spring mixed with sindoor. This Angabastra is considered one of the most powerful forms of Prasad in all of Bharat. People carry it thousands of kilometers to place on their home mandir. It's believed to hold concentrated Shakti, the creative energy of the Devi herself, absorbed during her 3 days of sacred rest. Now think about what this really means. months. In a country where millions of women are still told that menstruation is impure, where they are asked to stay out of kitchens, out of puja rooms, out of temples during their cycle, this temple has been doing the exact opposite for over 1,000 years. The most sacred event in Kamakhya's calendar is the menstruation of the Devi. The most powerful prasad is a cloth that symbolizes her cycle. Lakhs of people don't come here despite this. They come because of this. In Shakta philosophy, creation requires Shakti. Shakti manifests through fertility. Fertility is expressed through the cycle. To call it impure would be to call the very source of life impure. Kamakhya has understood this since before most of the temples we visit today were even built. This isn't progressive modernity. This is ancient Sanatan wisdom that mainstream culture forgot. And every June, Kamakhya reminds us. The Ambubachi Mela begins this June 22nd and the temple reopens on the morning of June 26th. If you ever get a chance to witness this, whether the silence of the closed days or the energy of the reopening, it will stay with you for life. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We bring you stories from Bharat's living temple traditions every single week. Share this video with someone who should know what Kamakhya really stands for and tell me in the comments which of these mysteries surprised you the most. Jai Maa Kamakhya.